My name is Ann Sermons Gillis, and I'm a member of Unity of Charleston. And today I'm interviewing one of our valued members, Michael Evans. Welcome, Michael.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, so glad that you're here. And speaking of here, where did here begin for you? Where were you born?
I was born in San Luis Obispo, California. And I have two brothers, younger brothers that were born there also. My mother was born in California.
Oh,
My dad was born in a little town called Piedmont outside of Greenville, South Carolina. And he met my mother while he was in the Navy, and they married and had us there in California.
okay. Where do you live now in the Charleston metro area?
I live in Somerville now,
Okay, yes. So you live
and,
in
I, and
Somerville.
I've been here for 38 years.
What brought you here?
To my father being in the service, he was transferred here,
Okay.
and or he was transferred into back to Greenville, and he was there for a couple of years, and then we moved to Charleston because being in the Navy, he was put on a ship. So
Okay. So you're here. Do you have any children
no children. I'm single.
or babies?
Nope.
You're footloose and fancy free.
Yes, ma'am.
And are you retired? Are you working still?
I'm retired.
And what did you retire from?
I have a degree in chemical engineering, so I worked out in Hugie for 20 years at that time it was Amoco, and then I left there and worked at the paper mill, and I took a course in environmental. I got a degree in environmental technology, and actually started getting working with water, cleaning water up and sending it to the river. So
Well, now the paper mill is closed, right?
yes, it closed. Yes, I retired a year before they closed.
Oh, that was perfect timing, huh?
Yes, yes, very much so.
All right. Well, during all of this, something must have been unlocked in you and you began a spiritual journey. Can you tell us a little bit about that spiritual search?
Um, yes, I'd say probably 25 years ago, I was in a relationship and it fizzled out, and I was just totally just broken. Uh, and at that time, things started. I had a friend that was going to Unity, and she knew what I was going through and so forth. And so she asked me, "Why don't you come to Unity?" And I'm like, "Well, okay." And in fact, the day that I started at Unity was when Ed started the exact same day. And so I've been going to Unity for 24 years now. But that started the process of spirituality in my life. I mean, as soon as I walked in the door, I knew this was home. And so I ended up, I always felt that I was spiritual, I guess you could say. I was raised in a Pentecostal holiness church. And so this was a huge thing for me to come into Unity, because it's totally different, you know. And so that's that started my journey, and I'm very open. And in fact, I was very open even when I was going to the Pentecostal church. You know, I didn't agree with, even as a child, I did not agree. I couldn't understand why they were saying these things because it didn't resonate with me, you know. So I get the way I kind of look at it is that I was born spiritual and knowing things, but keeping my mouth shut, you know. And then when I got into Unity, I was like, oh my goodness, I can speak, about these things, and there's like-minded people.
So waking up really led to waking up. And it's
Yeah,
like you had this wisdom and this openness and this curiosity even from the get-go.
right. And even to this day, I'm the same.
Yeah,
I'm still looking and searching, and it's just a wonderful journey.
yay. Now, could you tell me a little bit about what is your philosophy of life?
Oh, I'd say my philosophy of life is following Christ, and that's been at the very when I was born. And I'm not saying that I follow the man. I follow the Christ light, which is a difference, you know. Um, and so following the Christ light, I was following it before I even knew who Christ was. If you understand what I'm saying. Um, and so that's my philosophy. I just follow that. And when I follow the light of Christ, everything flows, you know. There's things that come up in my life, even before I start at Unity, that I would feel a certain way and I would follow it. At that time, I didn't know I was following Christ, like Christ. Uh, but that's my philosophy. I'm always following Christ.
Well, so when you say that you're following Christ, were there certain principles that are innate in that philosophy or in that urge that just come out in your life that you might tell us what that would mean?
I would say that, starting out, and my views have changed. Well, the words have changed, good and evil. And I think that came from the Pentecostal. Uh, uh, and so when I was going through my life, my journey, something would come up and I'd sit there and I'm like, and I always would swing toward good. And it's just really hard to explain how I differentiate. But nowadays, when I look at something, I consider bad as uh, a lesson for me to learn from. I don't consider anything negative. Everything is good for me. The universe is always there for me. God is always there for me. So no matter what the situation is, I don't look at it as negative, if that makes sense.
Yeah, so it looks like, you look at every experience is an opportunity. It looks like you've developed a trust that you know that you'll be taken care of and that there is a solution. If there is a problem, there is a solution.
Always a solution.
And it sounds like that you have a deep relationship with that inner voice or that inner guidance that steers you in the right way. So that's really what we call the mystical approach to life. And that is you go by the inner drummer, not the external, the esoteric rather than the exoteric.
Right.
Yeah. So
All right.
that's great. Well, do you have any favorite books that may have turned you or particular authors?
Don Miguel Ruiz, The Four Agreements, The Fifth Agreement. Um, I've read, and some other books I've read of his, I really like. My favorite is Deepak Chopra. And I've read a lot, especially his series on like Buddha, Muhammad, the third Jesus. Uh, they're all I just so enjoy reading and learning. I've learned so much from those two authors, and I read other authors also. Of course, being in Unity, I read Fillmore, you know.
Right. Well, I think a lot of people with Deepak Chopra, they really see him as a guide and quite a spiritual teacher. So he's a great master, I think. What are your passions or hobbies rather?
Um, I, I, I love working in the yard. I find a lot of peace there and, um, just the silence and the communicating with God, you know. I also communicate with Archangel Michael. He's around me all the time.
Michael.
Yeah, and that's a story my mother told me back when I was like I'm now 69, but in my 40s, I remember my mother sitting down and telling me that she said she was a little girl, she always wanted her firstborn to be named Michael. And I'm like, wow. And she said that she wanted to name me after Archangel Michael. And it just so happened that Archangel Michael is my angel, my the main angel for me that watches after me, and I'm able to communicate with Michael.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah,
Your own personal angel.
right. Yeah.
That
And
is,
I'm sorry.
no,
And I,
that's good. Go.
and I also, I go up to Mepkin Abbey a lot. Uh, I like to go up there and spend time with the monks in silence. I enjoy the mountains. I like going to Tennessee, the Georgia mountains. So,
And you take some trips to Georgia for some reason. You go to a church up there or center, don't you?
yes, yes. Well, I also I go to Unity Village also, probably about twice a year. I really enjoy going out there, and I do retreats out there also.
Oh, okay. And do you have any spiritual practices like meditation or
Oh, yes. Meditation. Uh, I also do involving crystals, orbs, animal totems. I'm a Reiki master, and I also talk to Michael and get information from him in my life and others if they ask me. I can not intercede, but I can talk to Michael for them if they have a question.
great. Well, I know that you are big on service as well. You lay out the spread every Sunday so that we can have sustenance after church. And I'm wondering, are you a member of the staff? Well, I know that you're a member of the board. What's your position in the board?
I'm just on the board. I don't really have
Member,
uh,
you're a member at large?
yeah.
Okay. And then do you have a title in the church? Are you a sexton? Are you on the church staff are you?
No,
No.
just the board. Yeah.
Yeah. So you do.
I do a lot of volunteer work on the board, like the muffin ministry. I do that. I handle the library or the books.
Okay. Let me just tell people what the muffin ministry is that elaborate spread every Sunday morning. Is that what the muffin ministry is?
Yes.
That's the food that we have after church. And then what else do you do in service?
Um, I kind of stand by for in case they need an usher. I can substitute in as that. Um,
You do the sign.
oh yeah, I just started doing that because it wasn't being changed, and I thought, wow, we need to let people know what we're talking about to bring people in. So I just started doing that like the last month.
And so what we're talking about here is a sign in front of the church, and it has
Yes,
the ability to put a different saying every week. So Michael puts a different saying every week.
yes.
Well, Michael, thank you so
Then
much.
I'm sorry.
Oh, no, go on.
Then also I do I handle the books in the little, I guess you would call the bookstore. Set that up and order books for whenever we have classes and so forth. I make sure we have books for everybody.
Oh, very nice, very nice. So is there anything else that you would like to add before we close today? Anything I've left out? Any piece of advice, any thought?
Just that I wish people would come to Unity and feel the love that we have at our church, and know that it's a very safe place and a very loving place.
True that. Thank you so much for being with me today, Michael, and I'll see you in church.
Oh, yes, thank you.